So let me take 2 minutes again. Explain the role of Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Ordinance 2020 in empowerment of the farmers. Right. So as I told you, there are three important points in this question itself. One is the Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Ordinance 2020. Second is the role of this ordinance. The role in you can say what sense? The role in the empowerment of the farmers. So beta, as I told you, we have to, you can say, write in that direction, that we have to interpret this ordinance in that direction, and we have to conclude it, you can say, towards the, we can say, end of we can say our answer, that that to what extent this ordinance will help the farmers, right, to get rid of from their problems, particularly related with the marketing of the, we can say, agricultural produce, right? So beta, as I told, yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
सर एक्सप्लेनेशन जब ये वाला कीवर्ड यूज करते हैं एक्सप्लेनेशन में, तो हमें पॉजिटिव सेंस में लिखना होता है हमेशा, मतलब जैसे एम्पावरमेंट ऑफ फार्मर्स है, अगर दिस इज ऑर्डिनेंस का कोई जो क्रिटिसाइज कर रहा है तो वो उस सेंस में नहीं लिखना हमने.
No beta, we will definitely write that also, right? We will definitely write also, right? So I'm just you can say coming on that point, right? So beta, yes. So beta, as I was telling you that you can say in a democratic society, almost the decisions taken by the popular government are, you can say, pro people according to the best of their, we can say, wisdom, right? But still, we can say analytics, you can say, put the decisions and policies of the government, you can say, under their lens, right? And they see that, you can say, to what extent these policies and decisions of the government will help the population, right? Will help the, you can say, people in positive respect, right? And what can be its various, you can say, side effects as well, right? So this is basic thing, right? So beta, as we know, just before entering into the question, I would like to explain you that as we know that we can say every decision, right? Every decision taken by the government, every decision, right? Every decision and everything has two aspects always, right? So this is not a part of your answer, right? I'm just explaining. Has two aspects, right? So one aspect is positive aspect, and the second aspect we can say that is the negative aspect, right? So pro and we can say against, dono hote hain, right? So can be positive aspect also, can be negative aspect also, right? So because as I have, you can say, as I already told you in one of my, I think, previous lectures, that you can say economics is the study of rational beings, right? I told you that economics is the study of rational beings, right? Is the study of rational beings. I told you earlier, right? Rational beings, right? And I told you in that lecture that you can say a rational being always we can say tries to maximize, right? Rational being is one who always try to maximize, right? Who always try to maximize. So beta, if we see the you can say the entities or various institutions in our society, right? So broadly we can divide the various entities in our society into, we can say, three broad categories, right? So one category is that of the individuals, right? And the second category is that of the, we can say, business entities. business entities, right? And the third category we can say that is the government, right? You can say categorize into these three broad classes, right? So an individual is one who tries to maximize his utility, right, from the expenditure he does, right? So utility maximization is the, you can say, important factor in economic decision of an individual, right? So as far as a business entity is concerned, the guiding principle for a business entity in its economic decisions, that is the profit maximization, right? So a business entity wants to maximize the profit, right? And you can say, as far as the government is concerned, government wants to maximize the welfare. Government wants to maximize the welfare of its citizens, right? So we can say these are the rational entities. So economics doesn't apply on the, we can say, irrational beings, the persons who are not rational, right? So government's ultimate aim is to maximize the welfare. So we can say that whatever the decisions or policies are made by the government, particularly in a democratic setup, right? Those are you can say those are in the best of their wisdom, best of their wisdom, aimed at welfare maximization, right? Aimed at welfare maximization. So I'm just this is not a part of your answer. I'm again telling you, aimed at welfare maximization, right? So when the government will decide a policy, or when the government will take a decision, then we can say there will be, you can say, welfare gain as well, right? In one aspect, and there may be some loss of welfare also in some other aspect, right? So the government judges it by the comparison of the gain and weight, right? So one possibility is that gain is greater than the loss. The second possibility is that gain is equal to loss. The third possibility is that gain is less than the loss, right? So beta, in this particular case, where the gain will be greater than the loss, right? So in this particular case, the government will go ahead, because this will add to the total welfare, right? The government will go ahead in this particular policy or decision in case of this, right? And beta, in case of, we can say, this particular case where the this is the whole case, right? So where gain is equal to loss, in this particular case, the government will be indifferent that whether to go ahead or not. Neither there is something to gain, nor there is anything to lose, right? So the government will remain indifferent in this case, right? So do or not to do, right? Both ways it is the same. So, and in case of this particular, we can say third case where the gain is less than loss. So in this particular case, we can say the government will not go ahead, right? The government will not, we can say, go ahead, right? Government will avoid taking such decisions. So this is basically the guiding principle, right, of the government, for the government, we can say, right? So this is all. So beta, we were talking about this particular, you can say, question, answer of this particular question. So beta, in the answer of this particular question, I was telling you that there are some negative points also, and there are some positive points also, right? So, so when you will write, you can say, your answer, right? You need to highlight both the points, right? You need to highlight both the points, right? So that will be the strategy of your answer in this case, right? So let me start with the answer of this particular question now, right? So here I will write the ordinance. Right, here is the ordinance. Right, ordinance. And how will we tackle this particular question? There will be same three approaches, 3 points, right? We can say four points in this case. One point is the introduction, general introduction, just to enter into the main content, right? So this is a gateway between you and your examiner, right, which helps to enter into the main content of your answer, right? So we can say this is a gateway, right? This is a gateway through which, right, you try to, through which examiner will, we can say, examiner will enter into the main content of your answer, right? The main content of your answer. So beta, this is most important thing, and you can say keep it in mind, right? So beta, you can say when somebody outsider, right, enters through the gate of your house, right? So beta, you can say our effort remains to we can say allow him or her, right? Allow him or her a comfortable entry, right? Him or her a comfortable entry. So beta, this is the thing which you must have to do here in your introduction part, right? Comfortable entry to the examiner, right? So there is a gap between you and your examiner. Here are you, right? And we can say here is your examiner, right? There is a gap between you and your examiner, and you need to fill this gap, right, through the medium of this, we can say, introduction. You need to fill this gap through the medium of this introduction. So this is the basic purpose of the introduction, right? So you must bear this in mind, right? So introduction is very important part, right, which gives the first impression of your you can say knowledge about the topic. So that is why this is the most important thing. It should be taken very seriously, right? And the second important part, that is we will write about the steps, you can say farmer steps, yeah, steps, right, for the empowerment of farmers in this we can say ordinance, right? Ordinance, right? So this is there, right? And the third important section of your answer will be we can say some reservations, right? Some reservations, right, expressed by others, right? Others may be some opposition political party, others may be a section of the population, others may be farmers union, others may be intellectuals, right? Others may be socialists, or others may be economists even, right? So that is there. And the fourth point is we will conclude it at the end, that what should the government do in such a situation, right? So that will be the end point. So this is the concluding part, right? Concluding part. Here will be the concluding part of your answer, right? So this is the way we will tackle, you can say, this particular question. Is it clear up to this point?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can discuss any point which comes in your mind, right? If you are not, you can say agreeing with me, even then you can tell me, right? So this is your right right? So don't move a step forward until and unless you are, you can say, fully convinced, right? Uh, that is important part of
Sir,
learning. Yes, tell me.
sir, what is the difference between examine and explain?
Beta, yes, beta. See, explanation. Yes, I'm just telling you. One is the word which is the examination, right? And the second word is explanation, right? Explanation, right? So as far as the examination is concerned, beta, in examination, right, we have to ultimately see, right, that you can say to what extent, to what extent we can say, to what extent something is going to serve the purpose, right? To what extent something is going to serve the purpose, right? So I am, you can say, explaining this answer, right, from the both points of view to serve the purpose, right? Very good, you raised this particular point here, right? To what extent something is going to serve the purpose, right? So beta, in this particular situation, we have to take both the you can say things in mind, right? Positive as well as negative, as I have told you, positive as well as negative, right? As well as negative, right? So examination means you have to, you can say, judge something, right? Examination means you have to judge something, right? So in the light of the purpose for which something has been created or made, right? It means you have to judge something, right? In the light of, in the light of its in the light of its purpose. So this is what we mean by the examination, right? So beta, explanation means just a simple explanation about, you can say, what it is, right? What it is, what is something, right? What is something, right? So this is the main difference between the two, right? What is something, right? Let's suppose, uh, uh, suppose you can say, right? You have been, right, asked to, right? You have been asked to, you can say, explain the, right, phenomena, right? Explain the phenomenon of monsoon, right, in India, right? Explain the phenomenon of monsoon in India, right? So beta, in that particular case, beta, what will you do when you have been asked to explain the phenomenon of monsoon in India? In this particular case, what will you do? You will explain that how the monsoon is developed, right? How is it developed, right? What it is, first of all, what it is, what it is. First thing, we will explain this. Second thing, we will explain this, how it develops, right? How it develops, right? And we can say, how does it advance, right? How does it advance in India, right? How does it advance in India, right? So we will explain all these things, we can say, in this particular thing, right? So this is how we will explain the, you can say, phenomenon of monsoon in India, right? So in this, you can add, you can say, some more points also, right? 2 3 more points also, right? But in this particular case, right, there is not, you can say, necessary to, you can say, talk about the various things, we can say, right, that that uh, you can say how the monsoon, right, how the monsoon you can say affects the, right, affects the people, right, affects the people, we can say, right? Or how the various factors, right, how the various factors, like we can say El Nino, etc., right, like El Nino, etc., affected, right? Affected. So you need not to go in that much detail. Someone is asking, you just explain the monsoon. What is the monsoon, right? So you need to do it that way, right?
Sir,
But if the yes, but if the you can say word limit allows you, then you can say go to discuss anything in this under the you can say umbrella of this explanation, right? So yes, what do you want to ask?
sir, if the question is examine the phenomena of monsoon in India, then
Yes, yes. Then better we will see that how monsoon, right, is a blessing as well as a curse for India, right? Examine the phenomena of monsoon, right? We will see number one, monsoon in positive aspect, right? Monsoon in positive aspect because there is we can say more positive, right? So then negative, right? So I'm telling you, one is this, right? And second is we can say negative also, right? And second we can say that you can say how the monsoon gets developed, how the monsoon gets developed, right? And we can say why is it called, why is it called, we can say, right, pulsating, pulsating, uh, right? So why is it called pulsating also, right? So how is it got affected, how is it you can say get affected by, right? Get affected by a number of factors, right? Get affected by a number of factors, we can say, like we can say temperature, right? Temperature, pressure, right? El Nino, right? Temperature, pressure, right? El Nino, right? La Nina, right? So you can say जो है अपना Indian Ocean, right? You can say जो
Dipole.
yes, yes. So Indian Ocean dipole also, right? So that is there, right? So then we can say Southern Ocean oscillations also, right? So beta all these things are there, right? So beta examine means okay, why the monsoon keeps on changing its behavior with time, right? So that will be the important thing which you can say we will like to explain in that particular answer, right?
okay, sir.
Okay. Is it clear? Do you agree,
Yes, sir.
or you
Yes.
have
Yes, sir.
some reservation in mind, right? Then we can say still.
Sir, one more question is there. Like, if
Yes,
there
yes,
is,
beta.
this is examine, this is
Yes, beta.
explain, and next is critically examine.
Yes, beta.
Then,
Yes, beta. Critically examine means yes, yes, examination and critical examination. Basically, the things are we can say same, right? Critically examine, right? So, beta, critically examine means you have to examine, right? You can say you have to examine with an intelligent eye, right? With an intelligent eye, right? To find fault in something, right? To find fault in something, right? And then to reach at the final judgment, right? Reach at the final judgment that whether it is right, that whether it is you can say good or bad, right? Means then final value judgment we can say, right? Then we go final value judgment, right? Then we go final value judgment, right? So beta basically beta there are we can say two important things beta. So one thing is that I'm just telling you. One thing is that with one person, let's suppose, right? So a teacher is, you can say, asking from a student, right? That a teacher is asking from a student that you can say, right? That the pen of a student, right, has been stolen by somebody, stolen by somebody in class, right? And the teacher is, we can say, and the teacher is, we can say, inquiring, right, from a particular student, right? So beta, this is basically a general inquiry done by the teacher, right? That just to ask from him, right? Okay, you have the similar pen, okay, from where you bought it, etc., right? You have the similar pen, right? Similar pen, right? From where you bought it, etc., right? So beta, such type of questions usually teachers ask, right? So beta, but when the, we can say, when a judge in the court, right? When a judge in the court, you can say, holds the, we can say, trial of a case, right? Holds the trial of a case, right? So beta, then you can say, judge does the critical examination of everything, right? Judge does the critical examination of everything, right? Critical examination, right? Critical examination, because that means examination from all the important aspects of the case, right? Intelligent examination with, you can say, very much care, right? So critical examination, we can say, critical means important, right? So examination from all the important aspects of the case, right? Leaving no corner untouched, right? Leaving no corner untouched, right? Leaving no corner untouched, right? So beta, basically what happens there in the case, right? So you can say all efforts we can say are aimed at, right? Or you can say aimed at, right? Denying and proving false, right? Denying and proving false, the, you can say, proving false the allegations on, right? The allegations on and, we can say, individual, right? Allegation on an individual. So beta, this is basically the critical examination, right? So criticality of something, right? So that is basically here, right?
Okay, sir.
Right? Examination
Yes,
with, yes, examination beta, you can say, a doctor also does, right? So when you go, right, with the, when you go with a fever to the doctor, right? So beta, he will just, you can say, right, he will just check you, right? See the, you can say, your temperature, right? He will see the temperature, right? And you can say he will ask you 2-3 questions, right? 2-3 questions, right? And beta, then you can say he will prescribe the, you can say, medicine, right? He'll take this, right? But beta, if the, right, if the fever, you can say, doesn't come down, right, even after taking the medicine, so beta, then the doctor, right, you can say, goes for the critical examination, right? Then the doctor goes for the critical examination, right? Critical examination, right, beta? Critical examination means, beta, a just enlisting the various reasons, right? Enlisting the various reasons, and then, right, and then we can say various reasons. Right, let me say there are the reasons A, B, C, D, E, F, right? Various reasons, and then beta, and then beta, trying to, right, you can say, deny the reasons one by one. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, right? So beta, he tried to examine and deny the reasons one by one. A not, B not, C not, D not, E not, F not. Then further, what can be the reason? Okay, then we can say he goes further, right? So beta, this is basically the critical examination, right? So, right. So one is the casual examination, one is the critical examination, right? Is it clear, beta?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So-
Sir, secondly, we can give some examples also in critical.
Uh, see, case study can be given anywhere, right? So you can say where it is required, right? So beta, irrelevant, never try to give irrelevant information anywhere, right? So never try to create a false
Ji.
impression, right, on your examiner, right? Simplicity is the best approach, right? So beta, if you will try to become over smart, then you can say you will yourself be caught, you can say, in the net woven by you. So beta, that is why, right? So beta, try to keep as simple as possible, right? Keep in mind the two important things. One is the simplicity, right? That is important thing. Second is straightforward, right? Remain straightforward. And the third important thing that is there, right? The third important thing that is there, which I already you can say tell you, that hit bullseye. Simple, right? Hit bullseye. So that will help you, right? Hit bullseye immediately, right? So beta, straight, simple, right? And common man's language, right? Common man's language. So try to write in that, right? Common man's language, right? Give the impression from the very beginning, right? Give the impression from the very beginning, right? That you are very much clear about the subject, right? That you are very much clear about the subject. Give this impression from the beginning, very much clear. So these are important things. You are very much clear about the subject, right? So next thing is that give the impression that you know well, right? You know well the purpose of examiner, right? Of asking this question, the purpose of examiner of asking this question, right? Give that impression also in your, you can say writing, right? Impression also, right? So beta, that is also required, right? And then beta, economy of words, right? Economy of words, right? Economy of words. And the next is beta, economy of words with the least, right? With the least unavoidable repetition, with the least unavoidable repetition, right? Repetition, right? So better bear in mind that there you are not writing the, we can say, Guru Nanak Dev Ji essay, right? So what we were writing in the schools, that you can say keep on writing whatever comes in your mind. Okay? So the marks will be given according to the length. So better here it is not like that, right? Economy of words with least unavoidable repetition. So that is there. And the next thing is better avoid, always avoid, right? Ornamental language. Avoid ornamental language. So that you can say won't help you, right? That avoid ornamental language. And the next thing is better try to use the least possible statistics, right? Use it only if it is unavoidable. The least possible statistics, right? Use it only if it is, we can say, unavoidable. If it is unavoidable, right? Because beta, the statistics from which source you have collected, those may not be authentic, and those may contradict the, you can say, government figures, of the figures there in the impression in the mind of the examiner. One is that point which is important here. And the next thing is beta, you may commit a mistake while, you can see, writing the statistics over there, right? So sometimes you may forget, right? Or you can give a wrong figure over there. So this is also there, right? And the next thing is beta, never, right? Never raise such a point. Never raise such a point. Such a point, right? Such a point which you cannot justify. Which you cannot justify, right? This approach should be in your, you can say, interview also. Never raise such a point which you cannot justify, right? Try to bypass such things. Try to bypass such things, right? So these are some important, you can say, points which you must be bear in your mind. So hope all of you must be knowing about these, you can say, things, because you are pretty mature now. Right?
Maybe,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
So can we write about like anti-government thing, like some policies has been already been made, and we can straight away go and critically examine, like उसके बहुत खिलाफ लिख सकते हैं government के, we have to be pro government.
Okay. Okay. Yes, beta. I'm just answering. Actually, who is on the line? Who was speaking?
Siddhant, sir.
Okay, Sidhant. Yes, beta, this is very important point which you have raised here. One thing is that, beta, you can highlight the, right? You can highlight the opposite also. Yeah, right? You can highlight the opposite also, right? But if you can justify it, right? But if you can justify it, this is the one point, right? If you can justify it, and if it is right, correct, if it is correct according to the, if it is correct according to the reason, right, logic, according to the reason, right, this is the, but ultimately, right, if you are criticizing, right, if you are criticizing, right, you must suggest an alternative, right? You must suggest an alternative which is better to the government's decision, right? Which is better to the government's decision, and justify that also, that how is it better, right? Justify that also, that how is it better, right? How is it better, right? Otherwise, beta, second approach is there, that you can say criticize, right? Criticize, and ultimately, right? Criticize, and ultimately, right? Fall in line by suggesting some remedies, right? By suggesting some remedies. So otherwise, this is the approach, right? You have beta every right to, you can say, speak, right? But beta, keep in mind one thing is that, right, you must be, I'm deleting this, right? So okay, beta, yes, beta, Palik, beta, statistics make your answer more, you can say, presentable, beta. But the problem is that, beta, if right, I was only telling you that you can say there you may commit mistake while, you can say, writing we can say statistics, right? So beta, that is the only point which I tried to ask you. Otherwise, you are free to write statistics, not an issue. Yes, so I was answering Siddhant's point, which is, you can say, very much important point which has been raised by him, right? So beta, I have told you that criticize. There is no problem in criticizing, right? Criticize, right? So one thing is there, right, which I would like to tell you, but always keep in mind, beta, there can be, right, multiple solutions. There can be, right, we can say there can be multiple solutions, there can be multiple approaches, there can be multiple, you can say, philosophies, right? So we right, we are living in the world of, we can say, multiplicity, right? So where we can say where you can say multiple approaches, multiple philosophies, and multiple, you can say, solutions may exist, right? So beta, let us suppose there are beta two particular approaches. One approach is A and the second approach is B, right? So beta, one thing is that beta, you are, let's suppose we are talking about the socialism and you can say capitalism, right? We are talking about these, you can say, two particular things, right? A, let's suppose, is the socialism, right? And you can say this B is, let's suppose, the capitalism, right? So beta, see, capitalism also has its values and socialism also has its positive points, right? So neither you can say that socialism is only the, we can say, ideal solution, or nor you can say that capitalism is only the, we can say, ideal solution, right? So beta, both the philosophies have their merits also, both the philosophies have their drawbacks also, right? So beta, always try to you can say follow and we can say accommodative approach, right? Accommodative approach, right? So right, we have the right, to put, right beta, I have the right to put my point, right? I have the right to speak, right? I have the right to speak. I have the right to raise my point, right? Right to raise my point, right? But I don't have any right to, we can say, shut your mouth, right? So beta, this is the approach, right? So your philosophy, your strategy, your approach may also have drawbacks, right? So when you can say others would go for that. And beta, one more important thing is that beta, let's suppose, right? Let's suppose, sir, let me take the example of Kamal. Beta, Kamal went to market, just right. Kamal went to market to buy a blanket, let's suppose, right? And she, you can say, spent rupees 2,000 on blanket, right? Rupees 2,000 on blanket, right? And she, you can say, returned home with the blanket, you can say, with her, right? So beta, Kamal's mom start criticizing Kamal that, you can say, number one, price is too high. One thing is that, right? Number two, color is not good. Number two, color is not good, right? She has started criticizing her. Color is not good, right? Number three, you can say, quality is poor, right? Number three, quality is poor. Quality and durability. Quality is poor, right? Let's suppose she is saying like that, right? Number four, that the shopkeeper has not given any warranty, right? No warranty there, right? No warranty there, right? And कमल की मॉम ने मतलब इतने ज्यादा नेगेटिव पॉइंट्स मतलब गिनवा दिए कि उसने कमल को ये बना दिया है ना कि आपको तो मतलब कुछ भी नहीं परचेज करना आता है ना. बट बेटा the point is we can say here beta that blanket, let's suppose, was necessity of their family, right? Necessity of their family, right? And the blank, and we can say no alternative to this was available in the market, right? This was the only variety, this was the only quality, this was the only type, this was the only color, and this was the only price at which the blanket was you can say was there, right? So beta, there was no alternative. So beta, in that case, right, criticism holds no value. Right, in that case, criticism holds no value because there was no other alternative before the government, right, before Kamal, right, before anybody else. So beta, we have to see, right, that you can say under what circumstances the government has, you can say, choose to make a policy like that, right? So beta keeping, yes, beta keeping all those things in mind, right, you have to go for criticism, right? So anything else you want to ask? Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So beta, today basically, right, you can say we discussed, you can say other points, right, and left and right of the main answer, right? So beta, please don't mind that, right, because that is also for your benefit, right? So is it okay, beta? Is it clear to everybody now that
Yes, sir.
Clear.
Yes, sir.
yes, so beta, what should be your approach? So approach building, that is one of the very important aspect of the civil services examination, right? Unless and until you have the right approach, right, you don't you can say catch the, you can say, things from the right angle, so you would not be able to, you can say, hit the bullseye. So that is why that was required, right? So now the thing is that introduction of this question. So beta, as far as the introduction of this particular question is concerned, right? So I'm just making it again. In its introduction, beta, first of all, we will try to say something about, you can say, the ordinance, this ordinance, which particular is there, right? Not the ordinance making power of the president. Okay, no need to mention that, right? So because some, right, some may, you can say, start their answer writing that, right, according to the Indian Constitution under Article 123, the President of India, right, has to promulgate, has the right to promulgate an ordinance when the Parliament is not in session, and so, right, and the life of the ordinance is 6 months and you can say 6 weeks, like that. So better, that is totally, you can say, irrelevant. Okay? That is totally irrelevant, right? So this is the main thing. First of all, we will try to say little about the ordinance, right? So second thing is we will try to say in the next part of the introduction that you can say, right, this ordinance, right, as this ordinance, you can say, attracts both praise and criticism, right? Praise and criticism from the various corners, right? From the various corners, right? So prima facie it is this, and as the opponents are saying, it is this, right? So we are discussing it in the following lines. So that will be the, I think, enough thing, right? So the examiner will catch your approach from here, right? So now steps for empowerment of farmers. What the steps have been taken, right? So various steps, I would explain it in the next round here in today's lecture only, right? So one is the, you can say, freedom, right? Second is the, you can say, APMC fees, etc. That would not be, yeah, right? That will be waived off like that, and so many things, right? We will explain. And third is better some reservations are related with the merits of the APMC, because the APMCs were, you can say, constituted in our country, right, by the various state government through the APMC acts, you can say, statutory bodies. APMCs are statutory bodies. So beta, the purpose of those was, can say, was to protect the farmers from the exploitation of the traders, right? So in this case also, beta, there is the question of the concern of the small and marginal farmers. So we will discuss that point here in this, right? And in the concluding part, Peter, we will see that that you can see, right, this ordinance is good. This is a decision of the government in the right direction, right? But if you can say, this can, we can say, help the farmers a lot. But if you can say these, right, if these various points are taken into account, right, and their solutions are provided. So in that way, we would end this particular question, right? So this should be the whole approach, right? Is it okay, beta?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
so
okay. So beta, you must be seeing, beta, that beta, every day we take a question, we discuss a question, and my approach remains that, right, you can say, first of all, right, I do not see the, you can say, top of the hill, right? If I am, you can say, standing here, right, so I will never look at the top of the hill, right? So beta, I just move, right, and you can say I start climbing, right, step by step, right, and slowly, right, you can say I reach the top of the hill, right? So beta, if standing at the ground, okay, I would see at the top of the hill, I would be never able to reach the top. So that is why, beta, my approach is that, right, you can say, you can say, break the big task into small tasks, right, and then you can say address it one by one, right? So ये मेरी अप्रोच रहती है, और मुझे लगता है कि यही अप्रोच आपको हेल्प करेगी. Rest is right, your freedom also, right? So
Yes, sir. It's an excellent approach to frame the question.
yes. So my, you can say, personal opinion is that this can be the best approach, right? So the rest is right. So there can be approaches, you can say, better than my approach, right? I don't deny, because there can be multiple ways. So, but according to me, this can be the better approach, right? Best approach. So now let us start with the introduction, right? How we will write the introduction of this particular question. As far as the introduction is concerned, right? So we will see the, right, farmers. The farmers produce. We'll write this: the farmers produce trade and commerce. The farmers produce trade and commerce. You can see promotion and facilitation. Promotion and facilitation ordinance, right, 2020 is a step taken by the government, right? Step taken by the government in the series of reforms, right? In the series of reforms, you can say, initiated by it, right, with a view to give a thrust to, thrust to the rural economy, thrust to the rural economy, thrust to the rural economy, right? Thrust to the rural economy by, right? Thrust to the rural economy by, we can say, by helping the farmers, right? By helping the farmers, you can say, in marketing of their produce, in marketing of their produce, right? In marketing of their produce. right? The other steps taken by the government so far include right, introduction of ENAM platform. One is that, right? And second is model we can say agricultural, right? Model agricultural produce and livestock marketing act 2017 and right, and we can say model agricultural, right? Model agricultural produce and livestock contract farming act, right, 2018, right? So since agriculture, so okay, निशांक कितनी ज्यादा चोट लगी आपके? Okay, beta. Okay, take care, right? So we are discussing this particular question, which is very important, right? So this is there, right? So model agriculture producing livestock, right? So we can write here that since agriculture is a state subject, since we can, you can say bypass it even, right? So this is the whole thing, right? So this ordinance in question, right? You can say, let me start it otherwise. We can write it that prima facie, and as advocated by the government, right? This ordinance has been brought to liberate the farmers, right? We can say, right, from the agriculture produce market committees, right, regime, right, and enable an environment, right, where the agricultural produce, right, where the agricultural produce could be bought and sold, right, freely, right, throughout the country, right, right. So it will, right, so it will, according to the government, right, right, you can say fetch remunerative prices to the farmer, right? Fetch remunerative prices to the farmers of their produce, right? Right? But on the other hand, right? Some political parties, you can say, and this you can say farmers organizations, right, and some intellectuals, you can say some intellectuals, right, are you can say looking at the other side, also, and according to them, this ordinance may harm the interests of some sections of farmers, right? Some sections of farmers badly, right? Some sections of farmers badly, right? So this is there, right? So in the following lines, we are going to discuss the various in the following lines, right? We are going to discuss, right? Both aspects, right? We are going to discuss both aspects, right? So this is there, right? So you can even reduce it further, right? So you can even
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, you can even skip. You can say these lines also, right? The previous you can say जो X की मैंने बात की है, right? So you can skip even these lines. Yes, please tell me.
Sir, what you have written just after the prima
facie, F-A-C-I-E, prima facie.
What's that mean?
Prima facie means on the surface. It looks like that.
Okay, sir.
Right? Is it bulk?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So beta, this is basically the, you can say, right, point, right? So this is the introductory part, right? So beta, the next important thing is that, right? So should I erase it, beta?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me when should I erase, because we are already late today in this, because we spend so much time in other discussions. No? It's not an issue. Is somebody feeling bad due to that?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No,
No,
sir.
that is also, sir, very important part of our
Okay.
answer writing.
Okay. Because this is democracy, so I must have to take, you can say, consider your interest also. My interest has.
Now you can erase it.
Okay, beta, okay. I'm listening. So this is the point, right? So about introduction, right? So next is, you can say, positive role of the ordinance. Positive role of the ordinance. Right? So we can say that the very, you can say, right, the very purpose of the ordinance, right, seems you can say pretty good and pro-farmer, right? Seems pretty good of the ordinance, right? Seems pretty good and pro-farmer. Seems pretty good and pro-farmer, right? Pro-farmer, right? In the present scenario. Right? So what is there in the purpose? Number one, right? You can say it. Let me write here. It you can say proposes to, right? It proposes to, right? It proposes to create an ecosystem. It proposes to create an ecosystem where, right? To create an ecosystem where, number one, right? Farmers and traders, right? Farmers and traders will, right, have freedom of choice. Right? Freedom of choice in terms of sale and purchase of agricultural produce. Right? sale and purchase of agriculture produce. So this is the one point. So second point is this, farmers can, so farmers can fetch, right? Farmers can fetch better remunerative prices, right? Better remunerative prices through the, we can say, creation of, we can say, creation of alternatives, through the creation of alternative trading channels, right? Alternative trading channels, right? Trading channels. So it will help the farmers to get the remunerative prices of their agriculture produce, because there will be the competition among the buyers now, right? So that is the main thing, right? The number third is that we can say interstate and intrastate, right? Within intrastate means within state, intrastate means between the states, right? Interstate and intrastate, right? Trade would, right? Trade would be more efficient, transparent, and barrier free, right? Transparent and barrier free, right? Beyond the we can say, beyond the existing physical market system, we can say, right? System or physical marketplace, right? So this is the third point. And the fourth point is that it provides, right? You can say where, right? You can say framework, let's suppose framework for electronic trading has been provided, right? Framework for electronic trading would be provided, right? Would be provided. So this is the would be provided, right? And the farmer would not be required to pay, right? Would not be required to pay, right? The fee, pay the fee to the market committees, right? To the agriculture produce market committees. You can write here that, right? Market committee. So this is the positive rule of this ordinance, right? So beta, you can say, to keep it in mind, right? You can further reduce it, right? You can say purpose of the ordinance. I can write it here, right? So for you, purpose of the ordinance. Okay, so beta, as far as the purpose of the ordinance is concerned, beta, I'm you can say pretty much sure, beta, if you can say spend at least this, you can say 1 month according to my approach, beta, you will also start, you can say, developing the answer in the same manner, right? So just you can say follow me or just walk with me, right? So purpose, the first purpose there is the beta freedom of choice, right? So this is quite easy for you to remember. The first purpose is freedom of choice, right? So beta, this was my approach in the, you can say, in my, you can say, previous magazines and my previous books also, right? So beta, I think Imran knows well about that, right? Paramjit may be knowing all about that, right? And you can say some other persons, right? This Nishank also knows about it. So beta, that is why. So one is that, right? Freedom of choice. And the second is better prices, right? Better prices. So second is this, right? Second purpose of this ordinance is this, right? So this will be a summary before you of this ordinance, right? Better prices, right? And beta, the third is that we can say efficient, transparent, and efficient transparent and barrier-free sale, right? Transparent and barrier-free sale, right? Barrier-free sale of agriculture produce in India, right? कहीं पर भी आप किसी को भी आप अपना प्रोड्यूस बेचो, ये इसका तीसरा बेनिफिट है, right? And the fourth important benefit of this, we can say, right, that is there, that is the, we can say, electronic trading, right? It will promote electronic trading, right? Electronic trading, which will give, you can say, a wide opportunity to the farmers to, you can say, find the buyers of their agricultural produce at the better prices where he can sell the produce, right? And the fifth point, we can say that get rid of the APMC regime, right? APMC regime, so which is proving a burden on the farmer in the present era, right? And it imposes limitations on selling of its agriculture produce beyond the particular market, right? So this is basically these are the various purposes of this act, right? So this is the, right? So beta, is it okay? Should I erase it now? Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And beta, tell me, beta, before this lecture, right? You can say who among you read this? You can say ordinance. आप में से किसने पढ़ा था ये ऑर्डिनेंस पढ़ा हुआ है या?
Not the whole ordinance, sir, but just a synopsis of it.
Okay. You take synopsis.
Yes, sir. कुछ पढ़ा सीगा पर पूरा clear नहीं.
Okay. So beta, this is there, right? So beta, now according to this, you can say this ordinance, right? What will be the modus operandi? Modus operandi means that how will this, you can say, right? How will this work? Modus operandi, right? So modus operandi, beta, I'm just giving you, you can say, a depiction of that, right? So as far as the modus operandi is concerned, beta, let's suppose here is the farmer, right? Here is the farmer, right? And beta, let's suppose, right, here lies the, you can say, farmer's produce, right? This is the farmer's produce, right? So beta, now what is there? The farmer will sell its produce to the trader, right? So this is an important thing there. The farmer will sell its produce to the trader, right? To the trader, right? So beta, you can say, as far as the trader is concerned now, according to this new ordinance, right? So anyone can trade in the agriculture goods, right? Anyone can purchase the agriculture goods from, you can say, farmer, right? Who is having the PAN card, right? Anyone having PAN card, right? So can become the trader, right? Can become the trader, right? So beta, the next important thing in this is that right, one can trade within state, or you can say outside state also, right? One can trade within state or outside also, So this is the second important thing with as far as the traders are concerned, right? So first is with regard to the traders, right? With regard to the traders, right? So anyone who is having the PAN card can, you can say, do this, right? And one can trade within state, or you can say outside also. So freedom of trade anywhere in the country, that is there, right? So beta, then beta, the next thing is, as regards the traders, there will be two important points, right? One important point is the registration of traders, right? So beta, will this depiction be okay, or should I write in the paragraph form?
So this is not good.
Sir, okay ji.
Sir, this
Okay, sir.
Okay.
It's also okay.
Okay. So one is this and second is the trading part, right? So beta, as far as the registration is concerned, right, the beta ordinance says that, right, ordinance says that the central government, right, the central government, right, can do e-registration of the traders if necessary. E-registration of traders if necessary. If necessary, right? So this is the point. It means the registration of traders can be through the electronic mode, right? And the central government will provide for the registration if it feels it necessary, right? So this is another point which you must bear in mind, right? So beta, as far as beta trading is concerned, right? Trading is concerned. So for this purpose, we can say beta one thing is important, which is there. That is the, we can say, trading platform, right? So who can set the trading platform, right? So beta, here we have already mentioned that we can say anybody who is an individual with PAN card, right? Or farmers produce organizations, or we can say agriculture cooperative societies, right? Agriculture cooperative societies, right? Can trade in the agricultural goods, right? Can trade in the agricultural goods. Is it clear? Right? Can trade in the agricultural goods, right? So beta, is it clear? Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it is clear.
Okay. And beta, the next important thing is here that we can say, right, beta? So you can say every trader, right? Every trader, we can say these Zoe agriculture cooperative societies are like those, right? Every trader shall, right, prepare, right, shall prepare and implement right, guidelines for its trade, right, for its trading. So guidelines will be provided by them, right? And beta, if the need be, right, central government can also provide model guidelines. If the need be, central government can also provide the model guidelines, right? Central government can also provide model guidelines, right? Model guidelines. So this is the central government can also provide model guidelines. So this is the next point, right? And beta, one important thing, the next important thing in this is in trading, right? If we go further, the next point comes, that is the pricing, right? The next point comes the pricing, right? So if I would talk about the pricing, so again there will be two important things related with the pricing, right? So again there will be two important things related with the pricing, right? So pricing. So related with the pricing, there are, we can say, two important things, right? One important thing related with the pricing, that is the price discovery mechanism, right? So one point is with the price discovery, right? The price information mechanism. Price information mechanism. So we can write, let's see like that, right? Price information mechanism. You know, beta, if the farmers would not be, right, updated with the price prevailing in the market, right, at some point of time, in that case, right, in that case, we can see that the farmers can be exploited. So beta, that is why price information mechanism should be quite effective, and it should be, you can say, efficient also, right? So price information mechanism. And the second important point beta here is that, as we can say, alternate, you can say, you can say alternate, right? We can say alternate means of we can say payment, right? Alternate means of payment, right? So beta, as far as this one important point is here, the price information mechanism. So as far as this is concerned, in this there is that the central government may provide a price information mechanism, right? So central government will can develop a price information mechanism, right? Which will act as a model, right? Price information mechanism. And as far as the alternate means of payments are concerned, right? So beta, alternate means of payments also we can say central government may decide, right? So central government may decide. As far as this is concerned, central government may decide here also. So central government may decide in this case also. Central government may decide, right? So here is this. So beta, the next important thing is beta. So the next important thing, as far as the alternate price, the means of payment are concerned, in this you can say suggested at that you can say, right, we can say the prices can be, right, we can say payments can be through the agriculture, right, agriculture cooperative societies, right, agriculture cooperative societies. So, right, so I'm writing it in brief. Agriculture cooperative societies, one is this, through the agriculture cooperative societies, right? And or second alternative means of payment can be through the we can say the second important point is it can be through the farmers produce organizations, FPOs, right? It can be through the FPOs. So the alternative means of payment involve this, right? So the payment about this is like we can say this, right? And beta, the next important point is after the payment, beta, the next important point is we can say about the payment, right? The next important point here is about the payment, right? So beta, as far as this ordinance is concerned, this ordinance says that right, the trader will settle the payment, right, will give the payment to the farmer on the same day, right, on the same day, right, when the transaction takes place, right, on the same day when the transaction takes place, right? So beta, kindly you can say adjust with me, right? This line is going down, please, right? So on the same day when the transaction takes place, right? Or maximum within 3 days, right? Maximum within 3 days we can say, right? If the delivery of the goods, is on the way, right? Is not yet done, we can say, right? Is it not yet completed, right? Is not yet completed. So beta, this is the point here. Let me take it here. On the same day when the transaction takes place, right? When the transaction takes place, or maximum within 3 days if the delivery of the goods is not yet completed, right? And in case payment is not done on the same day, right? The trader would issue a receipt, right, to the farmer, mentioning the amount due to him, right? So that is important, right? So if there is delay in the payment, in that case, you can say a receipt will be issued to the farmer, right? So mentioning the total amount due. So the trader will issue the receipt in that case. So this is the security of the payment to the farmer, right? So that the payment may not get delayed ordinarily. Inordinately, right? So this is the point. Is it clear, beta, up to this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, beta. And yes, and the next important point is, beta, which is here, which I'm writing here. That is the dispute resolution, right? Dispute resolution. Beta, we know if there is the agreement, right? If two parties are buying and selling, the dispute may also arise, right? Regarding anything, dispute resolution, right? So we can say this act provides for a dispute resolution also. Dispute resolution also, right? So beta, in that case, what will happen? We can say aggrieved party, the party which is having the complaint, right, shall approach the subdivisional magistrate. Right, the party shall approach the subdivisional magistrate. Right, the party shall approach the subdivisional magistrate. I am writing STM here. Right? Subdivisional magistrate. Right, and beta, on receipt of this you can say complaint. Right, subdivisional magistrate shall. Right, subdivisional magistrate shall constitute. Right, shall constitute a board of a conciliation, right? A board of a conciliation, right? A board of conciliation will be, you can say, appointed by the subdivisional magistrate, right? So the board of conciliation, beta, shall have a chairman. The board of conciliation shall have a chairman, chairperson, you can say, right? Chairperson, and members, all right? Members. Right, members. As well as the members are concerned, beta, there will be minimum 2 and maximum 4 members can be there. Right, minimum 2 and maximum 4 members can be there. Right, 4 members can be there. Right. So beta, the next is, beta, who can be the chairperson? Right, chairperson can be, beta, an official under the subdivisional magistrate. Right. Yeah, an official, right, under the subdivisional magistrate, right? So that person can be the chairman of this board of conciliation, right? And as far as the members are concerned, beta, members will be suggested by both the parties of the dispute, right? Members suggested by both parties of the dispute, both parties of the dispute, right? Both parties of the dispute. Is it clear up to this point, beta?
Yes.
So will you allow me to erase this, beta?
No, sir. One second.
So you can note it, right? Note it. Note it.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, if this question comes in like 100 words, so we have may cross the line of words. So in that case, can we represent through these flow charts?
Yes, beta. You can represent. There is no problem. Right.
Now you can, sir.
Okay. So is it there? So beta, the next you can say in the exam, in this ordinance, right? It is mentioned that you can say if the parties to the dispute fail to, right, suggest members to do this, you can say board of conciliation. In that case, we can say subdivisional magistrate can, you can say, appoint the members, right? At its you can say own, right? So if they don't suggest the members for that, right? So beta, this is there. So first thing, beta, the you can say decision or the final, right? The decision by the board of conciliation. Because somebody's, I think, mic is on, please. Decision by the board of conciliation, right? conciliation shall be shall have the effect of, right, we can say order of the civil code, right, order of the civil code, right, and that shall be binding on the parties, right. One thing is that, right. So beta, the next point here is that right. So beta, if some
Excuse me,
party,
sir.
yes, tell me.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, tell me, Paramjit. Okay. So beta, the next point is that right, if you can see, if any party is not satisfied, right, with the decision of the Board of Conciliation, with the decision, right, it may you can say appeal, right, it may appeal, right, to the, it may appeal to the, you can say subdivisional magistrate, right, it may appeal to the subdivisional magistrate, right. So beta, in case of, right, it may, okay, Paramjit, you can rejoin, not an issue, right. If any party is not satisfied with the decision, it may appeal to the, you can say SDM, and you can say the SDM will have to settle that appeal within 30 days, right, within 30 days. So it will have to settle that appeal within 30 days, right. So that is there, right, settle that appeal within 30 days, right. So beta, if somebody is not satisfied with the appeal here also, then beta, he can further appeal, right, he can further appeal to the collector, right, he can further appeal to the collector, or, right, or we can say additional collector, right, or additional collector at the district level, right, additional collector at the district level. And beta, here again, the appeal will have to be decided within 30 days, right, within 30 days, and the decision here will be final, right, and the decision taken here will be final, right. So beta, all the decisions taken, you can say at these points also, right, are having the effect of the order of the civil code, right, effect of the order of the civil code again, right, again. Okay beta, okay. So beta, the next important point in this is it clear up to this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, please raise ना करना मेरा तो.
Okay. Love. Hurry up beta, hurry up.
कर दो sir, please.
Okay.
You can raise now.
Okay beta, okay, no problem. So this is about the dispute resolution. Is it clear to everybody, right? I think it will be clear to everybody now, by now. So the next thing is beta, that is you can say trading, and the next thing is beta, any fees to the government. The next point is that fee to the government, right? Fee levy cess to the government, fee levy or cess to the government, right? Cess to the government. So as far as this is concerned, beta, there will be no fees, no levy or no cess which the state government can apply, right? No, right, under any state law, no under any state law or decision, right, no under any state act, kuch bhi nahi hoga, right, no under any state act that is there, right. And the last point in this is that which is again important, is it okay? I'm going to erase it. The next is beta, you can say there is the penalties, right? Penalties, that is important, right? Penalties, or we can say penalties. As far as the penalties is concerned, there are three things, beta. One penalty, which may come out of the decision, you can say, right? One penalty can be, you can say, the remedy, right? Remedy to the aggrieved person, whether it is trader or it is the farmer, right? Remedy, right? So that is important point. Instead of remedy, kindly write here recovery. That will be appropriate, right? Recovery. So recovery, right? So beta, if the farmer has taken the money advance and the farmer is not giving the produce to the, you can say, trader, in that case also the trader can recover, right? His money from the farmer, right? And beta, in case the, you can say, trader has bought the produce from the farmer and trader is not giving the money, in that case also the farmer can be asked, you can say, can recover the amount, right? So one is this. And second is beta, second is, we can say, the fine, right? Fine is, we can say, minimum fine is rupees 50,000, right? From 50,000 to rupees 1 lakh. Maximum is rupees 1 lakh, right? So, sorry, 10 lakh. From 50,000 to 10 lakh, the fine can be there, right? And the third point is, we can say that suspension, right? A trader's registration can be suspended, right? Suspension also, right? Trader's registration can be suspended in this case. So is it clear up to this point, beta?
Yes, sir.
So beta, this is how this you can say whole thing will work, right? And beta, from this thing, beta, you may be knowing some points. Number one, you can say freedom of trade. This is the one point, right? Freedom of trade, right? And further, right? One is this point. And second important point is there, that is the, we can say, price, right? That is the, we can say, price discovery, right? Or price disclosure mechanism, right? So that is there, better, right? Price information mechanism also to help the, we can say, farmers, right? And third is better, there is, you can say, right? There are the alternative, right? Alternative, we can say, payment mechanism also, right? Alternative payment mechanisms also, right? And online trade is there, right? Online trade is there, that is there, right? And the next is better, there is the dispute resolution mechanism, right? Dispute resolution mechanism also. And no, you can say, fee, levy or cess by the state government, levy or cess by the state government, right? And the provision for the punishment also, right? Provision for the punishment also. So these are the things, right? So beta, in the light of all these things, that it seems that, you can say, it can bring, you can say, a big change in the favor of the farmers, right? If it is implemented properly, adequately, right? So one thing is this, right? So these are the important points which are in this ordinance, we can say, and these are good for this purpose. Second, right? So now, beta, is it clear up to this point? Right? So now,
Yes, sir.
yes. So beta, now the next important thing, which is the other side of this story, right? The other side of this story, we can say, beta, some people are saying that, you can say, the ordinance may not, right? The ordinance may harm the farmers, right? May harm farmers, right? So what is their viewpoint, right? So I am telling you here that also, that what is their viewpoint, who are saying that the ordinance may harm the farmers, right? So one thing is, they are saying that APMCs, right? APMCs were formed right, were formed by various state governments, through APMC Act, to provide to secure, we can say, right, to secure or protect, we can say, farmers from the exploitation of traders, right, from the exploitation of traders, right. So only, right, so we can say according to the APMC Act, sir, right, so only the licensed traders, right, only the traders who have license from the, only the traders, right, who have a license from the APMC, from the respective APMC, right, could you can say deal in a respective mandi, right, could deal in a respective mandi, right. So बेटा जिस APMC का आपके पास लाइसेंस है, आप बेटा उसी APMC की मंडी में आप ट्रेड कर सकते थे, so that there should not be, you can say, unknown traders, right, who may buy the produce from the farmer, right, and may, you can say, go away, right, and the farmer, and from where the farmer would claim his money. One is that, right. And the second thing, beta, because the farmers are poor, farmers are not in the negotiation power. There you can say negotiation power is very poor because of the poverty or the conditions which prevail. And that is why, because sometimes you can say traders go to their villages, right, and they, you can say, they buy the produce from the farmers at a price even less than the minimum support price also, right. So that is a way of exploitation of the farmers, right. So beta, to, you can say, prevent from that, it was made that no agriculture produce can be, you can say, sold outside the mandi, right, which has been approved by the Agriculture Produce Market Committee, right, and only you can say licensed traders can, you can say, deal there in that market. So that was there, that was a mechanism made to protect the farmers, right. So beta, according to those, right, the we can say new ordinance, right, the new ordinance, we can say, the new ordinance, right, could serve the, right, could serve the big farmers, could serve the big farmers quite well, right, could serve the big farmers well. Why? Because number one, big farmers may be having the negotiation power, right, they can hold their commodity, right, big farmers, why? Number one, they have the negotiation power. One is that, right, they have a negotiation power, right, because they are not in immediate need of money, they have the negotiation power. One is that. Second is that big farmers, you can say, can hold the stock for some time. They can hold the stock, right, they can hold the stock, right, and you can say they can bear the cost of transportation to a place which is distant from their, you can say, farm, right, they can bear the transportation cost, right, to send the produce, you can say, at far places, right, they can bear the transportation cost also. So this is also the one point, right, that they can bear this also. And the next important thing is that the big farmers may have, you can say, enough produce, right, the big farmers may have enough produce, right, to you can say invite, or we can say attract a buyer from outside, so this is beta another thing, right, beta, if suppose I am having 1 acre of land, right, beta, and you can say I may be having, let's suppose, right, you can say 10 quintals of wheat, right, for sale. So beta, no buyer from outside will come to me to purchase my 10 quintals of wheat, right? So beta, I will be compelled to sell that wheat into the local market only, right? And that too at very low price, because in that case, right, so you can say there will be, right, you can say less demand in my local market also, because the traders in my local market also, you can say, will purchase the requisite stock from the, you can say, other states or from the other places, from other districts as well. So because that is why the price would fall in my local market also. So beta, this is the beta thing that you can say this may serve the big farmers, right? So beta, as far as the beta small and the marginal farmers are concerned, number one, those people don't have the negotiation power, right? Number two, they are not in position to hold their stock, right? Number two, they are not in position to hold their stock, right? And number three, beta, they cannot bear the, we can say, transportation cost also, right? They can bear the transportation cost to, you can say, sell their produce at the far places. And number four, beta, they don't have enough produce to invite a buyer from, you can say, outside. So this is this. So ultimately, they may have to sell their produce in the, you can say, local market, even at low prices, right? Because they would not be having any we can say other, you can say, alternative also, right? So beta, this is the important point here, right? And beta, second important thing is that why we are right, beta, in various, right, in some states, right, in some states like Punjab, right, in some states like Punjab, beta, okay, the roads connecting villages with mandis, right, villages with mandis have been constructed and maintained by the, right, market committees, by the agriculture produce market committees, right? From the fee they collect, right, they collect as you can say market fee, right, for selling the produce, from farmers, right, for selling the produce, right? So this is their source of income. And the agriculture produce market committees have an important role, you can say, right, in you can say in connecting the villages with the mandis, right? So because they are having the funds and they are constructing the, you can say, roads also, pakka roads also, right, to, you can say, connect the villages with the mandis. So beta, now beta, just we can say, take an example, right? If we should, if we can say the agriculture produce market you can say committee act is repealed in Punjab, right? If that is repealed in Punjab, that is repealed in Punjab, right? If लगा रहा हूँ क्योंकि आज की डेट में नहीं है, repeal हुआ, ठीक है? If it is repealed in Punjab, then beta, what will happen? Beta? Who will take the responsibility of the? Who will take the responsibility? Who will take the responsibility of connecting, right? Who will take the responsibility of connecting, right? Of connecting villages with the mandis by constructing roads, villages with mandis, right? With mandis by constructing pakka roads, right? By constructing pakka roads. So that will be a problem, right? Right. And the third important point is data. You can say Bihar, right? In 2006, right? Bihar repealed repealed the APMC Act. APMC Act, right? To provide freedom to provide freedom of selling, right, produce to the farmers, right? And better result is that, right? Result is that neither it has, we can say, helped the farmers anyway, neither this decision of the Bihar government of repealing the APMC Act, right? Neither it has helped farmers anyway, right? And secondly, beta, and we can say, nor has it attracted the private investment, right? Nor has it attracted, you can say, right, private investment for the construction of market yards, right? For the construction of market yards, right? Of market yards. So, beta, this is another important thing, right? For the construction of market yards. So, this is how this ordinance can, you can say, harm the interests of the farmers, right? This is the other side of the story which we have just discussed, right? Is it clear? Have you noted it down? Can I delete it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So the next is beta concluding part of this answer, right? Concluding part, right? So concluding part, conclusion, right? Conclusion. As we have discussed earlier, right? That prima facie, the ordinance seems favoring the, right? Seems favoring the farming community, and may, right? And may favoring the market community, sorry, farming community, right? And may contribute in improving the rural economy, by you can say adding to the farmer's income, right? By adding to the farmer's income. But the other side, right? But the other side, which says that, right? Which says that the new ordinance may harm the small and marginal farmers, right? Small and marginal farmers should also be, right? Should also be taken seriously. Right? If the government is able to provide a satisfactory, right? Is able to provide a satisfactory, you can say, and a real solution, right? To protect the interests of all sections of farmers, right? All sections of farmers, right? Right? We can say marginal, small, medium, right? And large, right? All sections of farmer. Then it is a good step by the government. Then it's a good step by the government in right direction, right, which may right, promote competition among the buyers, right, among the buyers, and provide a wider opportunity, right, to the farmers for selling their produce, ठीक है, anywhere, right, anytime, right, and we can say at any place, right, at any place, crossing the physical barriers already imposed by the APMC Acts, right, APMC Acts, right, and in parallel, right, a solution, you can say, for the rural connectivity with mandis, the problem which may arise, right, the problem which may arise after the repeal of APMC Act, right, after the repeal of APMC Act, right, and construction and maintenance of market yards, right, market yards should also be paid due attention, right, should also be paid due, should also be paid due, right? So this way you can conclude this answer, right? So is it okay? So now beta, just you can say some more information I would like to give here, right, related with this topic, because otherwise I don't know whether we may find any opportunity to discuss all those things or not, right? So that can be the issue, right? So beta, basically in our country in 1928, right, in 1928, right, a royal commission, right, a royal commission, you can see, was set up. A royal commission was set up on regulation of, right, on regulation of agriculture, right, market practices, agriculture market practices in India, right, and that commission suggested a mechanism like, right, APMCs, agriculture produce market committees, right, in that background, right, in 1938, right, in 1938, a model law was passed, right, a model law was passed by the British government, right, by the British government in India for the establishment of we can say APMCs, right, establishment of APMCs, and this and we can say the APMC Act was amended in 2003, right, that was to provide the, you can say, alternative platforms of selling, right, alternative platforms of selling, which means the farmer after 2003 could be able to sell the produce into the, you can say, wholesale market also, etc., right? So so that was there, right, and you can say make a provision for the, we can say, contract farming into the APMC Act 2003, right? That was amended then, right? No doubt beta, APMCs played an important role, right, in the regulation of the, you can say, agriculture produce mandis, right? But we can say, but with the time, many, right? But with times, many problems, right? Many problems crept into the system, right? Crept into the system, right? Into the system, right? So into the system, making it unsustainable, right? Making it unsustainable, right? Making it unsustainable, right? The various problems which you can say emerge there, right? Number one, that in many states, the agriculture produce market committees, right, failed to, we can say, construct, right? Failed to construct enough number of, we can say, market yards, right? Enough number of market. So one is the, you can say, we can say the problems of the agriculture produce market committees. That is the point, right? Problems with agriculture produce market committees. Number one, lack of market yards, because they could not construct the enough number of market yards, you can say. One is that, right? Second is lack of facilities, right? Lack of facilities in, we can say, in already existing markets, right? Lack of facilities in already existing markets. So that is the next problem, right? Already existing markets. This is the next problem, right? And the third problem is bureaucratic monopoly there, right? Bureaucratic monopoly, right? Bureaucratic interference, you can write, or you can write the bureaucratic monopoly in, we can say, existing agriculture produce marketing committees. This is the third point, right? And the fourth point is political interference due to the periodic elections, right? Due to the periodic elections, elections to the APMCs, agriculture produce market committees, right? So that is also one problem. Political interference is also one problem. And the next important problem is corruption there in the system, right? Corruption there in the system, right? So there is one example of corruption. I am just telling you what is happening today. You can say rice sheller owners, right? Rice mill owners, we can say, right? Make false invoices, right? Make false invoices. They make the false invoices, right? They make the false invoices and do not purchase, right? Do not purchase the produce actually, right? And against those invoices, right? They purchase the produce. Right, from the states like Bihar, right, where APMC Act has been repealed, right? At prices, right? At prices, we can see, right, like Bihar. Right? So, right, at prices below the MSP. So this is the corruption, example of corruption, right? So corruption is there in the system, right? And you can say the next is, you can say, malpractices are there. Malpractices, one example of malpractice is that which I have just
Sir, cartelization of traders.
Yes, and malpractices include one is the cartelization, which just has been suggested by Tanya, right? Number one is cartelization, right? One is that, and number two important thing which is there, that is we can say unwarranted, right? Unwarranted deductions from the farmers, right? Unwarranted deductions from the farmers, right? From the farmers. जो भी उन्होंने प्रोड्यूस वहाँ सेल किया होता है उसकी जो भी पेमेंट होती है उसमें से समटाइम्स वो अनवारंटेड डिडक्शंस कर लेते हैं, राइट. सो these are the various problems in these, you can see, APMs now, right. So so seeing this, right, so it was necessary to, you can say, make some changes, right, make some transformation, but you can say, right, so there could be two alternatives, right. One is you can say replacing it, this regime, and second alternative was, you can say, that was to you can say reform in that, right, that was to reforming that, right, reforming that, right. So beta, it all depends on the approach of the government, right. We can say that there are if we take the example of the approach, right, so this is, we can say, the right approach and this is the left approach, right. This is the left approach, right, and this is the balanced approach, right, midway of the two. This is the balanced approach, right. So beta, now it depends on the approach of the government, that what type of approach the government possesses at the time, right. So beta, ये जो left and right होते हैं, these are basically extreme approaches, right. These are basically extreme approaches. So extreme approaches are usually of the kind of the revolutionary approaches, right. Extreme approaches, right, extreme approaches. So beta, extreme approaches means there is the you can say to change, right, to change and replace for something new, right. So that is the extreme approach, right. एंड बेटा, जो लेफ्टिस्ट होते हैं वो हम कहते हैं जो अपने कम्युनिस्ट होते हैं, राइट. एंड बीजेपी को आपने कभी बहुत बार न्यूज़ में, मीडिया में देखा होगा, सुना होगा, न्यूज़पेपर्स में, राइट. इंटेलेक्चुअल्स कहते हैं कि दिस इज ए राइट कि दिस इज ए राइट विंग पार्टी, है ना. सो बेटा, दिस पार्टी इज आल्सो हैविंग द, वी कैन से, एक्सट्रीम अप्रोच, राइट. सो बेटा, इट ऑल डिपेंड्स दैट what type of approach the government possesses, right. And accordingly the vision of the government will be there, right. So that is why this government is going to, you can say, replace everything, right. Planning commission हटा दो, नीति आयोग बना दो, इसको हटा दो, वो कर दो, इसको हटा दो, वो कर दो. And similarly here, right, APMCs को हटा दो और ये ले. So different होता है. So is it clear, beta?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
Sir,
and
I wanted to add something here.
yes.
Sir, like the protest happened yesterday, तो
Okay.
उसमें the farmers were falsely, मतलब they had a belief that due to privatization of this all thing, कल को maybe they will also MSP को भी हटा सकते हैं. So there is a trust deficit between government and farmers, basically, I think, and a lack of communication between both of them.
Yes, Peter, this is a very good point which you have raised. I appreciate this point, right? This is very good point which you. Peter, there are two things basically. You can say that farmers are afraid of, right? Afraid of privatization. That is the point. Farmers are afraid of privatization. This is the one point, and trust deficit. Right, that is the next point which you have raised here. So beta, this is one thing. This is very much clear that so many reports, even the Niti Aayog report and some other reports, right, suggest the government. Even we can say WTO compulsions also, right, suggest the government to get rid of the protectionist policies, right? Protectionist policies. So this is clear approach. There is no doubt, right? And beta, MSP is also a protectionist policy, right? Subsidies are also protectionist policies of the government, MSP. So beta, in the long run, the approach of the government is to get rid of the public procurement, right? Get rid of the compulsory public procurement, we can say, right? And to get rid of the MSP regime also, right? The government also wants that you can say we want to get rid of this person, this you can say burden, right? And we want that we can say the agriculture produce, right? We want that the agriculture produce should be, right? Should be bought and sold in the, we can say, open market, right? Should be bought and sold in the open market. So beta, this is the approach of the government, and in the long run, government, you can say, is heading in this direction, right? So this is one thing, right? Is it clear? So one thing is that, right? So beta, as far as the beta trust deficit is concerned, yes, beta, trust deficit is basically due to, you can say, this main reason that the government, right, that the government has not taken the various stakeholders into confidence before taking these decisions, right? Various stakeholders into confidence, right, before taking this decision, right? Because this is a very, you can say, big decision before taking this, you can say, decision, right? And beta, one more important thing in this line, you can say, is that beta, as we have discussed in the question, right? And as we have discussed in the question, right? That you can say this scheme is pro large farmers, right? Is pro large farmers, and there are chances that we can say that the small and marginal farmers, right? The small and marginal farmers, right, may remain, you can say, looser in this, right? May remain looser in this, right? So beta, that is why the, you can say, farmers unions, right, are protesting, and some political parties are also, you can say, opposing this move, right? And seeing the, you can say, whole approach of the government, right? It looks as if the government is really want to private everything, right? Want to, you can say, favor the privatization, right? And the contract farming, right? And because the government basically kya hai, the government, I think, what I feel, right? So I cannot say that I am always right. What I feel, that we can say this government is little pro-rich, right? And the approach of the government is, you can say, little anti-poor, something, little anti-poor, right? So beta, what is important, which seems for the government has only one focus, that is growth, economic growth, right? Whether it is the agriculture sector, or it is the industrial sector, or it is the service sector, or whatever it may be, growth, right? Because beta, this government will, you can say, project the growth rate, right, in the coming elections. Project the growth rate in the coming elections, right? In the coming elections, that see, हमने ये किया, हमने वो किया, राइट, हमने इकोनॉमी को स्ट्रॉन्ग कर दिया, एंड गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर आज की डेट में सबसे बड़ा यही एक है कि इस गवर्नमेंट के आने के बाद इकोनॉमी काफी डाउन चली गई है इंडिया की, राइट? सो बेटा, द गवर्नमेंट इज फोकसिंग on the growth, right? So beta, and the government's focus, you can say, right, people are secondary in the focus of the government, right? I would like to say here, right, I may be wrong, right? People are secondary in the focus right now. People are secondary in the focus right now. So beta, the government is thinking that, right? The government is thinking that, you can say, small and marginal farmers, right, are creating the hindrance, right, in the progress of the agriculture sector. Small and marginal farmers are creating hindrance, right, are creating hindrance right? Small and marginal farmers are creating hindrance in the growth of agriculture, right? In the growth of agriculture. Because why they are creating hindrance in the growth of agriculture? Because you can say, because they are poor. So beta, the thing is that, right? Because they are poor, right? Because they are poor, and they cannot, you can say, put sufficient investment into the, we can say, agriculture, right? To you can say promote it, right? Mechanization of agriculture, artificial irrigation, high yielding varieties, etc., etc. They are unable to afford all those we can say things, right? And that is why the agriculture yield, you can say, right, increase in agriculture yield has stopped today, right? And that is why the government wants that, you can say, there should be the big farmers, right? So that is why the second ordinance is there to, you can say, promote the contract farming in our country, right? So we will discuss it in the next lecture, right? So this is the main thing, Peter. Is it clear to you? Is it clear now? Do you agree with
Yes,
me?
sir. Yes.
Tell me.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so
Yes. So Beta, this is the basically approach of the government, right? So we need to, you can say, see it in that way,
Sir?
right? Yes, yes, Beta. Hello. Yes. Hello. Somebody was
Sir,
trying
what
to
should be the approach to read newspaper for?
Okay.
Sir?
Read. Yes, Beta. What should be the approach to read
Sir?
newspaper? Yes. Beta, am I audible to everybody? First of all, tell me. Hello.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Beta, as far as the beta approach to read the newspapers is concerned, beta, first thing is that I would suggest you, right? So read only those newspapers which have at least medium term. Sorry, those news which have at least medium term and long term implications, right? Long term implications, right? On you can say life, mainly life, right? So life has various aspects now, right? Life has political aspect, right? Life has cultural aspect and so social aspect, right? Socio-cultural aspect also, right? Socio-cultural aspect also, right? So our life has better economic aspect also, right? Life has economic aspect also, right? And better our life is, you can say, affected by the environment and geography also, environment and geography, right? And better, and you can say affected by the things what are happening beyond our country, right? Beyond our country. So my approach remains this, right? Beyond our country, right? So only those things should be, you can say, caught by you. So one thing is that, right? And the second thing, beta, truly beta, if I want to beta tell you, right? Beta, you must be surprised that I don't read newspapers these days. Okay? Was this
How you cover these
beta?
topics?
Beta, I don't know how I cover these, you can say, things, but I cover anyhow, right? So beta, one thing, right? Beta, chalo. So for you, I cannot right recommend that you should also not read the newspapers, right? So beta, these are the various things which we need to cover, right? So at least beta, you can say one thing is that, right? First of all, beta, you must have, right? You must have, you can say, a hypothesis about everything in your mind. Hypothesis about everything in your mind, right? In your mind, right? Beta, your hypothesis will help you in interpreting the approach of the author in, you can say, every news, right? Because beta, you may encounter, right? You may encounter authors with different approaches authors with different approaches, right? With different approaches, right? And so beta that is why, right? So beta अगर मतलब बेटा अगर मुझे कभी न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ने का मौका मिलता है तो मैं तो बेटा न्यूज़पेपर को भी बेटा बस ऐसे ही पढ़ता हूँ बेटा। एक न्यूज़ उठाई, ठीक है, उसका बेटा एक एस्पेक्ट लिख लिया, फिर उसका दूसरा एस्पेक्ट लिखा, फिर उसका तीसरा एस्पेक्ट लिखा, फिर उसका चौथा एस्पेक्ट लिखा, है ना। अगर होता है तो फिफ्थ लिख लेता हूँ, सिक्स सेवंथ, बस ये लिख लेता हूँ और उस न्यूज़ को बस ऐसे बना के रख लेता हूँ, बन गई न्यूज़। सो मेरी तो बेटा अप्रोच ही रहती है न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ने की, अगर मुझे कभी पढ़ने का टाइम भी मिले। So what particular do you ask about this newspaper? Please tell.
From UPSC perspective, how we should like analytical ability कैसे करें हम, मतलब कि किस केसेस पे हमें करनी चाहिए। सर न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ते तो हैं, मतलब पर ये नहीं पता लग रहा है कि क्या, मतलब आपने ये करवाया एपीएमसी जैसे, तो इतना अच्छे से मैं पढ़ ही नहीं पाई। मैं कितने दिन से पढ़ रही हूँ न्यूज़पेपर, अब जैसे क्लैरिटी ज्यादा होगी।
ओके। सो बेटा बेसिकली ना बेटा आई मतलब पता नहीं क्यों, मतलब दिस इज एन यू कैन से मतलब इनहेरेंट क्वालिटी इन मी, राइट। सो बेटा दैट इज व्हाई मतलब आई डोंट नो, राइट, मतलब आई ऑलवेज टेक द थिंग्स यू कैन से इन दिस पर्सपेक्टिव। सो बेटा दैट इज व्हाई, राइट। सो बेटा बेसिकली क्या होता है ना बेटा कि व्हेन आई रीड समथिंग, right, I am telling you, when I read something, right, so बेटा जैसे बेटा आज मुझे थोड़ा सा होमवर्क तो करना पड़ा, देखो आपके लिए, है ना, करना पड़ता है, राइट। ऐसा बेटा कोई भी टीचर नहीं होता जो होमवर्क ना करे, ठीक है। और जो होमवर्क नहीं करते तो वो बेटा फिर उनको फिर स्टूडेंट्स एक्सेप्ट नहीं करते। सो बेटा मैं ये नहीं कहता कि मुझे होमवर्क नहीं करना पड़ता बेटा, आई स्टडी डेली। एंड बेटा निशांत नोज परहैप्स, राइट, that you can say I used to sit sometimes till you can say 3 a.m. in the morning also.
Yes, sir, yesterday also you slept at 3:30.
Yes.
Maybe 4.
yes. So बेटा ठीक है, सो बेटा समटाइम्स ठीक है, मतलब निशांत मेरे को ना मतलब मैसेज करते होते हैं, मतलब सर आप रेस्ट कर लो अब तो। सो बेटा मतलब मैं भी आपके जितना ही पढ़ता हूँ पहली बार, राइट। सो बेटा जब मैं पढ़ता हूँ, राइट, सो बेटा आप आज मैंने बेटा जैसे ये वाला ऑर्डिनेंस वाला आज मैंने सोचा कि आज मैं ये पढ़ूंगा, ठीक है, आज मैं इसके ऊपर आपसे बात करनी है, राइट। सो बेटा मेरे सामने बेटा क्वेश्चन थे, ऐसा नहीं कि मैंने बस कहीं से मैंने खोलना है बस और मैंने ऑर्डिनेंस पढ़ लेना है। मेरे सामने बेटा क्वेश्चन थे, पहली बात ऑर्डिनेंस क्या है, राइट। सो मेरे माइंड में ना ऐसे बेटा क्वेश्चन बनते हैं, राइट, पहली बात ये थी, राइट। एंड उसके बाद बेटा मेरे माइंड में बेटा ये क्वेश्चन था कि इस ऑर्डिनेंस की नीड क्यों है, व्हाई नीड of this ordinance, right. And बेटा फिर बेटा मेरे माइंड में बेटा ये क्वेश्चन आया बेटा कि how is it going to serve the need, right, how is it going to serve the need, right. फिर बेटा मेरे माइंड में ये क्वेश्चन था how is it going to serve the need, right. नेक्स्ट मेरे मन में ये था क्वेश्चन, राइट। सो बेटा जो नेक्स्ट मेरे मन में बेटा क्वेश्चन आया, राइट, कि व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम इन द प्रेजेंट सिस्टम, राइट, व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम इन प्रेजेंट सिस्टम। सो मैंने बेटा ये क्वेश्चंस बेटा मैं ना पहले ड्राफ्ट करता हूँ, क्वेश्चन ड्राफ्ट करने के बाद पढ़ता हूँ बेटा मैं कोई चीज, राइट। सो मैं उसको बेटा ऐसे ही नहीं पढ़ता, राइट। सो ये मेरी
सर फिर ये आप गूगल पे सर्च करते मतलब ये सारे मतलब क्वेश्चंस?
बेटा मैं बेटा बहुत सारे सोर्स मैं आपको बताता हूँ बेटा। इसके अंदर ना बेटा क्या होता है बेटा, गूगल पे बेटा हर चीज भी नहीं आपको मिलेगी, राइट। सो बेटा इसके अंदर बेटा मेरा अपना माइंड है, राइट। बेटा मेरे माइंड की नेचर ही थोड़ी एनालिटिकल नेचर है मेरे माइंड, राइट। सो बेटा मैं खुद अपना माइंड अप्लाई करता हूँ, राइट। बहुत सारी चीजें आपको बेटा गूगल से नहीं मिलेंगी, राइट। और इसके पीछे मेरी बेटा 30 इयर्स की बेटा मेरी यू कैन से मेहनत है, ठीक है। मैंने बेटा अपनी जिंदगी में बस मैंने इसी के ऊपर ही फोकस किया है, ठीक है। एंड बेटा आई हैव टोल्ड टू माय अदर स्टूडेंट्स कि देयर वाज अ टाइम इन माय लाइफ 1986 में मैंने अपनी एजुकेशन कंप्लीट कर ली थी, 1986 से 1990 तक, राइट. सो बेटा द यू कैन से circumstances in Punjab was not good, right. At those days I was, you can say, at home. And बेटा शुरू से ही बेटा ये मेरी अप्रोच रही है बेटा कि I used to study, right. मैं, मेरे सामने कोई टारगेट हो या ना हो, लेकिन मैं स्टडी किए बिना मैं सो नहीं सकता. स्टडी मेरे लिए एक नींद की गोली है. वन इज दैट पॉइंट, राइट. मुझे सेटिस्फेक्शन नहीं होती. समटाइम्स मैं रात को भी उठ के बैठ जाता हूँ अगर मैं कभी बिना पढ़े सो जाऊँ, राइट. वन थिंग इज दैट. सेकेंड थिंग बेटा, आई हैव स्टडीड टू मेनी बुक्स, राइट. आई हैव स्टडीड, यू कैन से a lot, right. I have studied beta various, you can say, domains of the education, right, of the knowledge, right. So beta there was a phase when I start studying economics, right. So beta I studied at least, you can say around more than 50 books on economics, right. So there was a time, right. So beta then I start focusing on the management, right. So beta when I start studying the management beta, so I was having, you can say, around, you can say, 80 books on the management which I studied, right. So around 80 books which I studied, right. And beta then came the time of the accountancy, right beta. So I studied accountancy also, right. Around, you can say, 60 books of accountancy I studied, right. Then beta came the, you can say, then came statistics, right beta. So beta in statistics also beta around, you can say, 40 books I studied, right. And there are some topics of the statistics beta which are like, you can say, just ABC for me, right. So I read about 40 books on this statistics, right. And similarly beta on various other subjects, geography, you can say, right, polity, etc. etc. So beta matlab behind this is, you can say, my this, you can say, जिसे मैं कहता हूँ मेरी ये हार्डशिप है इसके पीछे, ठीक है. और बेटा मेरे सामने बेटा ये होता था कि मेरे लिए जिंदगी भी किताब है और मेरे लिए एंटरटेनमेंट भी किताब है. और मैं कहीं भी जाता था बेटा, मैं बस खाली घर वापस आने के लिए बस पैसे अपनी पॉकेट में रख के, और बाकी मैं सभी पैसों की मैं बुक्स ले लेता था, ठीक है. और मैं जहां भी गया बेटा, शिमला गया, शिमला से भी मैं एक बुक अकाउंटेंसी की लेके आया, और उसने मेरे को मतलब बहुत ज्यादा हेल्प की. और बहुत सारी बुक्स मैंने बेटा मतलब फॉरेन ऑथर्स की पढ़ी है जिसके अंदर उनकी, यू कैन से, ओरिजिनलिटी होती है. सो बेटा दैट इज व्हाई, मतलब ये मेरा मतलब कुछ ऐसा है बेटा, राइट. सो
सर अब जैसे 2 मंथ्स है हमारे पास, इसके लिए हम
Yes.
क्या कर सकते हैं? प्री और मेंस की दोनों की इकट्ठी हो जाए तैयारी, क्या कर सकते हैं? मतलब
बेटा मैं तो आपको बेटा पहले दिन भी मैंने तो बेटा ये बोला था, है ना, कि बेटा इस एग्जाम के लिए तो बेटा मैं कुछ नहीं कह सकता, क्योंकि बेटा टाइम इज टू शॉर्ट फॉर मी, राइट. बिकॉज बेटा हर चीज बेटा एक टाइम तो लेती है, राइट. अगर बेटा हमने राइस कुक करनी है तो बेटा उसके लिए बेटा जितना 5-10 मिनट टाइम लगना है वो तो लगेगा ही, है ना बेटा. अगर हम उसको शॉर्टकट करके 2 मिनट में कुक करना चाहेंगे तो बेटा वो कच्चे रहेंगे, है ना. वो हो सकता है किसी को अच्छे लगे या ना लगे, तो वो कच्चे रहेंगे, है ना. सो बेटा एवरीथिंग टेक्स सम टाइम. सो बेटा दैट इज वाई, राइट. लेकिन चलो, इवन देन, राइट, व्हाट द मैक्सिमम आई कुड डू, right. So I will try to, you can say, suggest you, right. I will try to help you, even in that case also try to support you, right, to the maximum extent even, right. That is my duty also, right. So I will definitely tell you, right, whatever I could.
ओके सर.
So anything else anybody wants to ask for me today? I think today internet issue is also there. So we should, you can say, finish the lecture here only, right. किसी को कोई निराशा तो नहीं होगी अगर आज हम यहाँ लेक्चर छोड़ देते हैं तो?
सर क्वेश्चंस फॉर टुमारो फॉर आंसर राइटिंग?
No, sir.
Okay. Yes beta, question beta, one question is this which I have just given to you, right. Beta, put it in 200 words. One question is this, right. So because that is your art, right? I have given you the information in the raw material now, right? So that will be your effort, right? So one thing is this, and the second question is beta ke, right? What were the right? What were the lacunae in APMC regime? In APMC regime, that the government has to, right? That the government has to think of, right? Think of a new, right? Think of a new approach for agricultural marketing, right? For agricultural marketing, right? For agricultural marketing. So this is the next thing, right? So this is the next thing. So that is there, right? And this is there, right? And further beta इसके अंदर ये है, right? कि why the present, मैं यहाँ ordinance ही लिख देता हूँ, ठीक है? आप इसका पूरा नेम लिख लेना, right? Why the present ordinance is criticized by the opposition, right? By the opposition, right? The question which was raised by, you can say, Mr. मुझे उनका आज नाम अभी मेरी जुबान पे नहीं चढ़ा, सिनाद, right? So why the present ordinance is criticized by the ordinance and farmers organizations, right? Why is the present ordinance, right? Organizations, right? And suggest measures to improve it in the light of criticism, right? In the light of its criticism, right? So you can write this also. So this way you should work on it, right? So
Okay, sir. Thank you.
so anything else beta tell me, right? So अभी मेरे पास time है, जितनी देर नेट अपने आप बंद नहीं होता, so we can talk, right? So not an issue, right? So tell me if
Sir,
anybody
what is this
wants.
lacune means lack. Lacune means sir?
Yes, problem क्या है, right? कमियां क्या है, खामियां क्या है, right? So that is this is the meaning of that, right? So everybody should keep a dictionary with him or her, right? Because that should be your companion, right? Every time you must have dictionary. Okay, so because there are the words, right? अगर उनका हम specific meaning in the particular context of the sentence देखते हैं तो उनका meaning कोई और होता है, ठीक है? मतलब कुछ और होता है, और अगर हम उसको जनरल कॉन्टेक्स्ट में यूज करते हैं तो वो कुछ और होता है. सो दैट इज व्हाई कॉन्टेक्स्ट को समझना बहुत जरूरी है. इंटरप्रिटेशन इन द राइट कॉन्टेक्स्ट, दैट इज वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड सेकंड, डेवलप योर लॉजिक एंड रीजनिंग, राइट? डेवलप योर लॉजिक एंड रीजनिंग. एंड थर्ड बेटा, जो भी करो उसका बेटा 360 डिग्री डोमेन देखना है बस, नॉट ओनली वन साइड, राइट? That was the university examination. अगर मैंने इस डोमेन पे यहाँ तक चला गया तो फिर भी मुझे चलो पास कर देते हैं. बट यूपीएससी में क्या होगा बेटा कि अगर मेरे पास पेपर चेक करने आता है तो मेरे पास उसके साथ में बेटा एक लिस्ट ऑफ की पॉइंट्स आएगी, कीवर्ड्स आएगी, ठीक है? सो मैंने आपने कुछ भी लिखा है, मेरी नजरें बेटा उसी की पॉइंट्स को, कीवर्ड्स को ढूंढती रहेगी आपके आंसर में. अगर वो है तो मेरे लिए काम का है आपका आंसर, अदरवाइज भले आपने कुछ भी लिखा है मेरे लिए आपका आंसर काम का नहीं है. सो दैट इज व्हाई स्टूडेंट असेस करते होते हैं कि मेरे 60% मार्क्स आएंगे और यूपीएससी देता है 30% मार्क्स, राइट? सो ये इसलिए होता है. सो दैट इज व्हाई बेटा ऑल डोमेन्स, दैट इज इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग, राइट? सो नेवर, यस बेटा,
Sir, have you reviewed my answers?
Beta, today actually I have yet to see, right? So I will definitely respond.
Okay, sir.
right? I will definitely
Okay, sir.
respond to you, not an issue, right? So beta, these are the important things, right, which you need to focus. So 360 degree you should rotate, right? So कोई भी एस्पेक्ट आपको छोड़ना नहीं है, क्योंकि आप गवर्नमेंट के पॉलिसी मेकर बनने जा रहे हो, ठीक है? आपके ऊपर हमारे कंट्री का फ्यूचर रहेगा. सो दैट इज व्हाई, राइट, बहुत बहुत यू कैन से रीजन के साथ और बहुत पेशेंस के साथ आपको वर्क करना है, तभी आप यूपीएससी के लेवल पे जाओगे. अगर आपके अंदर पेशेंस नहीं है, रीजन वीक है, तो आप यूपीएससी के लिए काम के कैंडिडेट नहीं हो, ठीक है? यूपीएससी ने अपना मैकेनिज्म ही ऐसा बनाया है कि कोई भी लोग जिनके अंदर पेशेंस नहीं है वो अपने आप आउट हो जाते हैं, जिनका रीजन वीक है वो अपने आप आउट हो जाते हैं, राइट? सो दैट इज व्हाई यूपीएससी की फिल्ट्रेशन कुछ ऐसी है, राइट? सो देयरफॉर आपके आंसर में ओरिजिनलिटी हो, ठीक है? आंसर आपका जो भी कन्वेंशनल चल रहा है वैसा नहीं होना चाहिए, ठीक है? मेरी अप्रोच हमेशा ये है कि आप किसी का मत देखो, है ना? अगर कोई एबीसी कहता है कि आंसर ऐसे ही चाहिए, पहले इंट्रोडक्शन चाहिए, फिर बॉडी चाहिए, उसके बाद आपने वे फॉरवर्ड देना है, उसके बाद आपने ये देना है, ठीक है? इंट्रोडक्शन में आपने बस उसको डिफाइन करना है चीज को, जो कोई नहीं, है ना? हिट द बोल साइड. मैं आपको ये कहता हूँ कि इंट्रोडक्शन में आप हिट द बोल साइड, राइट? राइट बेटा, अगर आप मान लो, राइट बेटा, अगर आप मान लो, ठीक है, बेटा मान लो आप सोलन खड़े हो बाईपास पे, राइट, एंड बेटा आपको शिमला जाना है सोलन से, राइट? यू हैव टू गो टू शिमला, राइट? सो बेटा, राइट, वहां बेटा आपके पास मैं कार लेके रुकता हूँ, मैं आपसे पूछता हूँ कि शिमला को कौन सी रोड चाहिए. सो बेटा, अगर आप बेटा मुझे ये बताने लगोगे, है ना, कि शिमला एक बहुत अच्छा मतलब हिल स्टेशन है ना, मतलब शिमला यहाँ से इतने किलोमीटर दूर है ना, है ना, और शिमला को यू कैन से मतलब डेवलप मतलब ब्रिटिशर्स ने किया, है ना, और वो उन्होंने अपनी यहाँ मतलब समर कैपिटल बनाई, ठीक है, और शिमला में मतलब ये चीजें हैं जो आपके लिए मतलब देखने वाली हैं, है ना, और राइट, और वहाँ पर मतलब रहने के लिए ये होता है, सोने के लिए, खाने के लिए ये होता है, ठीक है? अगर आप बेटा एंटायर शिमला को ही डिफाइन करने लग गए, है ना, तो बेटा मैं चला जाऊंगा आप गाड़ी लेके, मैं सोचूंगा कि चलो किसी और से पूछ लेंगे, है ना, इसको तो पता नहीं क्या हो गया, है ना. मैंने आपसे क्या पूछा कि शिमला को रास्ता कौन सा जाता है. सो हिट द बोल साइड, बस स्ट्रेट वे बोलो, है ना, कि यहाँ से लेफ्ट जाना बस, है ना. सो राइट जाना है यहाँ से और आप शिमला पहुंच जाओगे. सो मेरे लिए तो बेटा वो चीज़ इम्पोर्टेंट है. सो अगर आप ये कहोगे, है ना, ठीक है, या फिर आप मुझे अब बताने लगोगे, है ना, रास्ता बता के, है ना, तो मुझे अब बताने लगोगे, है ना, कि धीरे चलना, ठीक है, ऐसा है, ठीक है, यहाँ पर मतलब एक्सीडेंट्स हो जाते हैं, ये हो जाता है, ठीक है, धीरे चलना, रुकते रुकते जाना, ठीक है, मतलब 40 किलोमीटर से आप ज़्यादा मत चलना, ठीक है, पर आवर की स्पीड से, ठीक है, ऐसा, तो वो भी नहीं मैं सुनूंगा. मुझे क्या उन चीज़ों से, मेरा तो एक ही काम है कि शिमला को रास्ता कौन सा जाता है ना. सो मुझे और कुछ नहीं चाहिए आपसे, राइट? सो हमारे बहुत सारे लोग वो होते हैं जो सोलन से शिमला का रास्ता पूछता है वो, और वो कहते हैं कि पहले हम आपको शिमला बताते हैं क्या है, ठीक है, रास्ता तो आपको बाद में बताएंगे, है ना. तो वो बेटा वो आपको वो शिमला सुनता सुनता, ठीक है बेटा, वो शिमला की तारीफ सुनता सुनता, है ना, और बेटा बस वो दुखी हो जाता है और वो कहता है कि चलो छोड़ो इसको, है ना, किसी और के पास चलते हैं. सो ये नहीं करता, राइट? सो वो बेटा हर जगह पे हर अप्रोच नहीं काम करती है. सो दैट इज
सर जैसे आपने आज वाला करवाया टॉपिक, जैसे मेंस के पर्सपेक्टिव से अगर हम रोज कैसे दो, जैसे आपने बताया कि 3-4 एंगल से आपने देखना है, कोई भी है, जैसे फार्मर्स वाला बताया, जैसे अगर हम 2 भी अगर रोज के कवर करें, तो जैसे आपके वाले पर्सपेक्टिव से, जैसे कि भाई क्यों है, नीड क्या है, हाउ इट इज गोइंग टू सर्व, व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम इन द प्रेजेंट सिस्टम, कैन
बहुत ज्यादा हेल्पफुल है बेटा. एंड इवन फॉर योर यू कैन से मल्टी प्रिलिमिनरी एग्जामिनेशन आल्सो, ठीक है बेटा. आज के टॉपिक में से मल्टी प्रिलिमिनरी एग्जामिनेशन के लिए भी बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन बनते हैं, राइट, जो मैंने आपको आज ये ऑर्डिनेंस पढ़ाया, ठीक है. सो बेटा
हाँ जी
दैट इज व्हाई, है ना. सो प्रीलिम्स एंड मेंस दोनों के लिए बेटा जॉइंट अप्रोच है, राइट.
हाँ जी
सो
सर।
हाँ, सो बेटा अगर हम बेटा ये करेंगे कि पहले हम आज वाले ऑर्डिनेंस को, ठीक है, मतलब पहले इसको हम बल्कि प्रीलिम्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से पढ़ लेते हैं, ठीक है, तो फिर कभी हम इसको बल्कि मेंस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से पढ़ेंगे, है ना. पहली बात तो बेटा पता नहीं वो टर्न आएगी या नहीं आएगी, फर्स्ट थिंग, है ना. और दूसरी थिंग बेटा, दैट इज यू कैन से रेपिटेशन, है ना. दैट इज mere you can say wastage of efforts, your efforts, my efforts, time also, right. So that is why, right. So मेरा ये रहता है कि मेरी एक्चुअली बेटा अप्रोच ये है बेटा कि मतलब स्टडी थ्रू करंट, ठीक है, मेरी अप्रोच ये है.
हाँ जी सर। सर जैसे अब स्पीकर वाला वो चल रहा है राजस्थान में, तो फिर
हाँ.
आप उनको किस किस पर्सपेक्टिव से देखोगे? जैसे एक तो वही होगा कि स्पीकर का ऑफिस में क्या क्या पावर्स हैं,
यस.
एक तो आप फिर वो देखोगे जैसे आपने कहा
हाँ.
ऑर्डिनेंस क्या है,
यस यस
उसके बाद नीड भी उसको उनको क्यों जरूरत है फ्लोर टेस्ट कंडक्ट करने की, नीड क्या
यस
हुई,
यस यस यस
एंड हाउ इट इज गोइंग टू सर्व द नीड, हाउ इट इज गोइंग, मतलब वो करंट गवर्नमेंट को अफेक्ट करेगी कि नहीं करेगी, उसकी जगह नई गवर्नमेंट आ सकती है कि नहीं आ सकती,
यस यस
ये हो गया.
यस.
व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम इन द प्रेजेंट सिस्टम, तो इसमें हम ये बताएंगे कि
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल बेटा हमें सबसे पहले बेटा हमें इस चीज को बेटा समझना पड़ेगा, राइट, कि स्पीकर के ऑफिस को मतलब क्रिएट करने के पीछे की फिलॉसफी क्या एग्जिस्ट करती थी, ठीक है. अगर हम बेटा, हाँ ठीक है, अगर हम बेटा उस चीज को समझ के चलेंगे, राइट, तो फिर अपने आप फिर आपके सारे दरवाजे खुल जाएंगे, राइट. फिर आपको बेटा कुछ भी नहीं जरूरत, है ना. तो ये होता है बेटा, राइट. सो ये रहेगा, राइट. सो बेटा बस उसके बाद बस फिर हम देखेंगे स्पीकर का रोल क्या होना चाहिए, स्पीकर को पार्शल होना चाहिए, स्पीकर को हम पार्शल हम उसको मतलब कैसे रख सकते हैं, है ना. जैसे ठीक है, जैसे यू कैन से मतलब ब्रिटेन के सिस्टम में है कि स्पीकर मतलब के अनअपोज्ड रहता है मतलब नेक्स्ट टर्म के अंदर, राइट. मान लीजिए आज मैं स्पीकर हूँ, तो मतलब जब नेक्स्ट इलेक्शन आएगी ना लोकसभा की, तो मेरे अगेंस्ट मतलब कोई भी कैंडिडेट नहीं फील्ड करेगा. सो मतलब के अनअपोज्ड मतलब जिताएंगे मुझे, सो दैट मैं अपनी ये वाली टर्म मतलब अनबायस्ड तरीके से पूरी कर सकूं, राइट. सो ये भी रहता है ना, स्पीकर को हमने अनबायस्ड कैसे बनाना है, राइट. एंड राइट. फिर हमें सब चीजें देखनी है ना, क्योंकि स्पीकर हमारे सिस्टम में स्पीकर मतलब अनबायस्ड नहीं हो सकता, क्योंकि
हाँ जी सर, वो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का मेंबर ही रहता है, वो छोड़ता नहीं सीट अपनी.
यस बेटा, मतलब स्पीकर का भी एक अपना बेटा यू कैन से मतलब पॉलिटिकल करियर है ना, राइट. और बहुत कम लोग होते हैं मतलब सोमनाथ चटर्जी जैसे, जो लोग यू कैन से मतलब अपने मतलब असूलों के ऊपर पक्के रहते हैं, राइट. सो सोमनाथ चटर्जी को देख लो, पार्टी में से निकाल दिया गया था लेकिन उसने कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं किया था, ठीक है. वो कहता है कि मैं अपने स्पीकर का रोल, ठीक है, मतलब बहुत अच्छे से प्ले करूंगा, जो मेरी ड्यूटी बनती है. सो बेटा दैट इज व्हाई मतलब ऐसा रहता है, ठीक है. सो मतलब हमें ये सब चीजें देखनी होती है, राइट. तो फिर हमें अल्टीमेटली राइट बेटा, जब हम प्रॉब्लम को डायग्नोज करेंगे ना, तो प्रॉब्लम अपने आप ही हमें बेटा मतलब सोल्यूशन भी सजेस्ट करेगी, ये कर लो, राइट.
ओके सर.
सो प्रॉब्लम का डायग्नोज बहुत अच्छे से करो, राइट. सो ये रहता है, कुछ भी हो, राइट. एंड हर चीज को आप साइंटिफिकली देखो, राइट. हर चीज को आप ये मान के चलो कि एवरीथिंग मतलब हैज ए रीजन बिहाइंड दिस. सो ये रहता है, ठीक है. हाँ. सो ठीक है. सो बाकी अगर कोई पर्टिकुलर, अगर कोई ऐसा कोई बात करनी हो, है ना, तो आप मेरे से आप कांटेक्ट कर सकते हो कभी भी, है ना, कि मतलब इस पर्टिकुलर चीज में बताओ मैं क्या करूं, है ना. तो वो तो वो फिर हम उसको फिर पर्टिकुलरली देख लेंगे, राइट.
ओके सर.
So anything else, anybody wants to ask anything, please. So okay beta, should I take leave today?
Yes sir.
Yes sir.
So right beta, please beta, keep on giving your feedback to me, right. That is important for me also, and we will meet tomorrow again, right, at the same time. Okay beta, take care, bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank